Most people pass through life without ever truly meeting their own soul. They live, work-chase achievements, and perform daily routines. Yet they never pause to ask the deeper question, why am I here? The real purpose of their existence remains hidden beneath layers of noise, expectations, and distractions. Carl Jung believed that every soul carries a purpose, an inner journey that runs quietly beneath the surface of our ordinary lives. This journey isn't about career success, social status, or following the crowd. It's about becoming whole, reconnecting with the parts of ourselves we've lost, and remembering why we were born in the first place. But what happens if you ignore this journey? Jung warned that neglecting your soul's path doesn't just cost you time. It leaves you feeling incomplete, like a book left unfinished, or a song that was never fully played. And when the end of life arrives, you risk realizing that you never truly lived, that you only existed on the surface. In this video, we reveal 7 powerful soul lessons that Jung believed we must learn before death. These lessons are not about perfection or becoming someone else. They are about rediscovering the self, the truest version of you, that lies beyond ego, fear, and conditioning. If you've ever felt that quiet pull toward something deeper, something beyond the ordinary, these lessons might be the keys you've been searching for. Are you ready to uncover them? Stay with us as we explore Jung's timeless wisdom and unlock the journey that leads not to perfection, but to wholeness. Your shadow is not evil. It is not some dark, monstrous force lurking inside you, waiting to destroy your life. Instead, your shadow is everything within you that you have repressed, rejected, or denied. It is the part of yourself you refuse to see, the parts you have buried, because they feel uncomfortable, unacceptable, or too painful to face. Carl Jung, the great psychologist and philosopher, spent much of his life studying this concept of the shadow. He believed that the shadow is not inherently bad. It is simply the unconscious aspects of who we are. It is the anger we pretend we don't feel, the fear. We don't want to acknowledge the desires we are ashamed of, and even the talents we've suppressed because we were told they don't fit who we're supposed to be. Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This means that true personal growth doesn't come from pretending to be pure light, positive all the time, or spiritually perfect. Instead, it comes from being brave enough to look at the darkness inside us, our wounds, insecurities, and unhealed pain, and bringing them into the light of awareness. Only when we face these hidden parts can we truly understand ourselves and become whole. The power of facing the shadow. Your shadow has immense power. Until you confront it, it silently influences your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It shows up in unexpected ways, in your reactions to others, your relationships, and even the things you dislike or judge in other people. Often the traits we find most irritating in others are the very traits we have not accepted within ourselves. Jung called this the projection of the shadow. By refusing to face our shadow, we allow it to control us from the background. It's like living with a stranger inside your own mind, someone who quietly steers your life in directions you don't fully understand. But when you bring the shadow into consciousness, when you face it with honesty and courage, you reclaim your power. You begin to see yourself clearly, without filters or illusions. Shadow work as a path to wholeness. Jung believed that facing the shadow is the first step toward soul integration. This process, often called shadow work, is not about getting rid of your dark side. Instead, it's about understanding it, accepting it, and transforming it into a source of strength. The shadow contains not only pain and fear, but also creativity, passion, and untapped potential. Think of it this way: the parts of yourself you've rejected hold keys to your deepest growth. Maybe you were told as a child not to be too emotional, so you learned to repress your feelings. Or maybe you were criticized for being too much, so you hid your true self. Facing your shadow means gently bringing those parts back into the light and saying, I see you. I accept you. You belong. Practical steps to face the shadow. Facing your shadow isn't always easy, but it can be transformative. Here are some steps inspired by Jungian psychology. 1. Notice your triggers. Pay attention to moments when you overreact or feel strong negative emotions. These are often signs that your shadow is being activated. 2. Reflect on your judgments. The things you criticize most in others often mirror something unresolved within yourself. 3. Write or journal. Allow your hidden thoughts and feelings to come out on paper without judgment. 4. Explore your dreams. Jung believed the dreams are a direct window to the unconscious, often revealing shadow aspects. 5. Seek support. Therapy, deep conversations, or creative expression can help you navigate shadow work safely. The gift of integration. When you face your shadow, you don't just find your pain, you also discover your power. You begin to live a more authentic life, free from the masks and roles you've been forced to play. You become less reactive, more compassionate, and more connected to your true self. Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming whole by embracing every part of who you are. The truth is, you cannot have light without darkness. By making peace with your shadow, you create balance. You no longer have to hide or pretend. Instead, you stand fully in your own truth, knowing that both your light and your shadow make you human and make you whole. The world teaches us to conform. From the moment we are born, we are subtly guided to follow certain paths, obey certain rules, and become what society expects us to be. We are told how to dress, what to believe, and even what success should look like. Over time, we learn to wear masks, polished versions of ourselves that are acceptable to others, but often disconnected from our true nature. But the soul isn't here to copy, it's here to become. Carl Jung understood this deeply. His concept of individuation is about breaking free from the illusion of conformity and aligning with your unique inner truth. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning and rediscovering the self that existed before the world told you who you should be. Individuation is not about rebellion for its own sake. It's about listening to the quiet, powerful voice within you, the voice that knows your deepest values, dreams, and purpose. Jung believed that until we begin this journey of self-discovery, we live half-live shadows of who we are meant to be. We mimic the world instead of expressing the unique spark of life that is within us. You weren't born to fit, and you weren't born to fit in. You were born to remember who you are. This is more than a motivational phrase. It is a truth that Jung's entire philosophy points toward. We are not here to merely copy what others are doing. We are here to bring something new, something authentic into the world. When you conform to every expectation, you lose touch with your own center. You may feel restless, anxious, or unfulfilled, even when you're doing everything right by society's standards. This is the soul's way of calling you back, urging you to stop living for others and start living for the self, the deeper eternal part of you that cannot be defined by external validation. What is individuation? Jung's idea of individuation is the lifelong process of becoming whole. It's about integrating every part of your psyche, the conscious mind, the unconscious, the shadow, and the light, into a balanced, authentic self. It's not about perfection. It's about truth. This journey often requires courage because it means going against the crowd. It means questioning beliefs you've inherited and letting go of roles that no longer serve you. It's about finding your own voice, even if it trembles. Individuation is not a one-time event. It's a process. Every challenge you face, every shadow you confront, and every dream you pursue is part of this unfolding journey. Jung believed that by embracing this process, you not only heal yourself, but also contribute something unique and meaningful to the collective world. Why conformity feels comfortable but dangerous. Conforming can feel safe. It keeps you from standing out, from being judged or criticized. But in the long run, conformity is soul-crushing. It silences your authentic self and replaces it with a version of you that others expect. You may wake up one day realizing you've spent years living a life that isn't truly yours. You've chased goals that don't satisfy you. You've followed a script that leaves you feeling empty. Jung warned that when we ignore the call of individuation, we risk losing our connection to meaning and purpose. The path to remembering who you are. How do you begin this journey of becoming? Start by asking yourself hard questions. What do I truly value? What makes me feel alive? What am I afraid to admit about myself? Jung often suggested exploring dreams, journaling, or simply spending time in solitude. These practices help you hear your own voice beneath the noise of the world. Facing your shadow, or the parts of yourself you've rejected, is also crucial. Individuation isn't just about finding your light. It's about embracing all that you are, even the messy and uncomfortable parts. Only then can you step into life as a whole, authentic being. The reward of individuation. While the path may be challenging, the reward is freedom. True freedom. You no longer live for the approval of others. You no longer chase empty goals. Instead, you live with clarity, purpose, and a deep sense of connection to your own soul. This is what Jung wanted us to understand. The greatest tragedy is not failing in the eyes of the world, but failing to remember who we are. The world doesn't need more copies. It needs people who are fully themselves, people who bring their unique gifts and truth to life. Conclusion. In this video, we'll explore how Jung's concept of individuation can help you break free from conformity and rediscover your true self. This is not just philosophy, it's a practical path to living a life of authenticity and wholeness. Because you weren't born to blend in. You were born to become. You were born to remember who you truly are. Suffering isn't meaningless. It's a soul signal. Every heartbreak, betrayal, loss, or illness isn't just random pain. Beneath the surface, there's a deeper call whispering to you. Come home to yourself. Carl Jung believed that pain is not something to simply be avoided or numbed. Instead, it's a doorway, a crack, through which something greater can emerge. Jung wrote, "The wound is the place where the soul enters." This means that our suffering, as unbearable as it may feel, often has the power to awaken us to parts of ourselves we would never have discovered otherwise. The hidden purpose of pain. When life hurts, when relationships fail, when we're betrayed by someone we trusted, or when illness disrupts our plans, our first instinct is to resist. We want the pain to stop. But Jung suggested that pain has meaning. It shatters the ego, the constructed identity we cling to, and forces us to look deeper. It's in these moments of collapse that the self, the true essence of who we are, has a chance to emerge. Pain challenges the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. It strips away false identities and superficial goals, revealing what truly matters. In this sense, suffering is not just something we endure. It's something that transforms us if we allow it. Heartbreak and the call to wholeness. Think about heartbreak. It's more than just losing someone. It's a confrontation with the parts of yourself you've ignored or given away. In the quiet, after heartbreak, you often discover your strength, your boundaries, and your capacity to love yourself in ways you never did before. Betrayal works the same way. When someone betrays you, the pain can feel unbearable. But in time, it often pushes you to build stronger self-respect and clarity about who you let into your life. It forces you to grow beyond illusions, even though the lesson is harsh. Illness as a wake-up call. Even illness, which many of us see as purely negative, can be a profound teacher. Illness slows us down, makes us reflect, and sometimes forces us to change the way we live. Jung believed that the body and mind are deeply connected, and that physical suffering can mirror unresolved inner conflicts. While pain is never something we want, it can act as a signal, a message from the soul urging us to heal, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Pain as a spiritual teacher. Jung's perspective reframes suffering from being something senseless to something meaningful. He saw pain as a spiritual teacher, a force that cracks the ego open. When the ego is broken, the self, the deeper, wiser, eternal part of us, can step forward. Without pain, we might stay asleep living surface-level lives, without ever meeting the fullness of who we truly are. The challenge, of course, is that facing pain requires courage. It means sitting with discomfort, allowing yourself to feel, rather than suppressing or distracting. But when you do, something extraordinary happens. You begin to heal from the inside out. The wound as a gateway. The wound is the place where the soul enters. This line from Jung is more than just poetic, it's a map. Your wounds, as painful as they are, can lead you to your deepest transformation. They teach you compassion, because once you've been broken, you understand the pain of others. They teach you resilience, because you've had to rebuild yourself. And they teach you authenticity, because pain strips away everything false, transforming suffering into growth. To use pain as a path to growth, start by asking, what is this pain trying to show me? Instead of avoiding your wounds, sit with them. Journal, meditate, or talk to someone you trust. The point isn't to glorify suffering, but to listen to the lessons it offers. Healing doesn't happen overnight. But each time you face your pain with awareness, you reclaim a piece of your power. You integrate your shadow, your fears, and your broken parts, and slowly you become whole. Conclusion: suffering, though painful, is often the catalyst for awakening. It calls you back to yourself, reminding you that life isn't just about avoiding discomfort, it's about becoming who you truly are. In this video, we explore Jung's profound belief that pain cracks the ego so the self can emerge. We'll uncover how heartbreak, betrayal, and illness are not just random misfortunes, but powerful invitations to grow. Your wounds do not define you, they refine you. And if you have the courage to face them, they might just lead you home. What annoys you in others often reflects what's unresolved in you. Think about it when someone's behavior triggers an intense reaction in you. Anger, frustration, or even deep irritation. It's often not just about them. It's about something within yourself that you haven't fully faced, acknowledged, or healed. Carl Jung called this projection. It's the mind's way of showing us our own blind spots. Instead of looking inward, we unconsciously project what we dislike about ourselves onto other people. It's easier to criticize or judge someone else than to face the uncomfortable truth that the very trait we despise might live within us. Projection, a mirror for the soul. Jung believed that projection is not something to fight or be ashamed of. In fact, he saw it as a valuable tool, a kind of mirror the soul holds up for us. Every time you feel a strong emotional reaction towards someone, it's a signal. It's as if your unconscious is whispering, "Pay attention. There's something here you need to see." For example, if you find yourself judging someone for being arrogant, ask yourself, is there a part of me that craves recognition or validation? If someone's dishonesty drives you mad, consider, have I been fully honest with myself or with others? These reflections are uncomfortable but powerful because they guide us towards self-awareness and growth. Don't fight it, study him. Most of us instinctively push back against projection. We say, "I'm nothing like that person." But Jung would challenge you to look deeper. Your reactions, especially the strong ones, are rarely random. They reveal what's hidden beneath the surface of your consciousness. Instead of suppressing these feelings, study them. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this so strongly? What does this reaction say about me? When you do this, you start to transform your emotional triggers into teachers. They show you where healing and integration are needed. The unconscious and the shadow. Jung's concept of the shadow is deeply connected to projection. The shadow is made up of all the parts of yourself that you've denied or repressed: anger, fear, jealousy, vulnerability, and even hidden strengths. Because these aspects are unconscious, they often show up in the people around us. We notice in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. The problem isn't that we have a shadow. Everyone does. The problem is when we don't recognize it. When we project our shadow, we give our power away. We judge others without realizing that the real work is to integrate what we've been avoiding in ourselves. Your reactions are your soul's mirror. This is why Jung said that your emotional reactions are mirrors for your soul. The people who trigger you are not just obstacles or enemies, they are reflections. They help you see the parts of yourself that are calling out for awareness. Imagine if every time you felt irritated or hurt, you paused and asked, "What is this showing me about me?" Instead of being trapped in blame or resentment, you'd use each experience as a chance to grow. How to work with projection. Here's how you can start transforming projection into self-discovery. 1. Notice your triggers. Pay attention to the moments when you feel strong emotions towards someone. 2. Question the reaction. Ask, what does this remind me of in myself? 3. Journal your thoughts. Writing helps you uncover unconscious patterns and beliefs. 4. Practice compassion. When you see that others are mirrors, you become less judgmental and more empathetic. 5. Integrate what you learn. Use these insights to embrace your shadow and grow into a more authentic version of yourself. The power of awareness. The beauty of projection is that once you see it, it loses its grip on you. Instead of being controlled by unconscious reactions, you become aware. You begin to own your feelings rather than blaming others for them. This awareness leads to a deeper connection with yourself and with the people around you. Conclusion. What annoys you in others is rarely just about them. It's about you, your unhealed wounds, your unspoken fears, your unacknowledged desires. Jung's wisdom invites us not to fight these projections, but to study them, to see them as mirrors for the soul. When you shift your perspective in this way, very challenging interaction becomes an opportunity for self-discovery. Instead of asking, "Why are they like this?" you begin asking, "What is this showing me about me?" That's where real growth and real freedom begins. Carl Jung valued silence, not as a void, but as a bridge, a connection to the deepest layers of the soul. In a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and endless chatter, silence becomes a rare and precious space. It's in the quiet moments that the soul begins to speak, whispering truths we can't hear when life is too loud. Silence is not empty, it's full of meaning. Many people fear silence. They think of it as an absence, a sign that something is missing. But Jung saw it differently. He believed that silence is not the lack of sound, but the presence of something greater, an opportunity to listen to what lies beyond the surface of everyday life. When you quiet the world around you, when you put down your phone, turn off the background noise, and allow yourself to simply be, you create a space for the inner voice to emerge. This voice is always there, but it's drowned out by the outer chaos. It's the voice of your true self, of the part of you that holds wisdom, clarity, and direction. The noise that blocks the inner truth. Our modern lives are louder than ever. Notifications, news feeds, and constant conversations keep our minds spinning. We're surrounded by so much external input that we rarely have the chance to listen inward. Jung believed this outer noise blocks our access to the inner truth, the quiet knowing that guides our path. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence without distractions? At first, silence can feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. But stay with it, and you'll notice something remarkable. The mind slows down, the heart opens, and the soul begins to speak. Silence as a spiritual practice. For Jung, silence was more than just a break from the world. It was a form of spiritual practice. He saw it as a way to connect with the unconscious mind, where dreams, archetypes, and deep truths reside. In silence, you can begin to see your thoughts and emotions more clearly. You can reflect, heal, and gain insight into what you truly want. Silence isn't passive. It's active listening. It's the process of turning down the volume on the world so you can hear the voice that never left, the voice of your soul. The voice that never left, turn down the volume, and you'll hear the voice that never left. This is a powerful reminder that you already have the answers you seek. You don't need to search endlessly outside yourself. Your soul has been waiting patiently for you to stop to breathe and to listen. In moments of silence, clarity often arrives like a soft wave. You begin to realize what matters, what doesn't, and what you've been ignoring. Jung believed that when we allow silence into our lives, we reconnect with the self, the deeper, timeless part of our being that knows who we are and why we are here. How to embrace silence. Start small. Just 5 minutes of quiet time each day can shift your perspective. Disconnect. Turn off devices and step away from external distractions. Listen without judgment. Notice your thoughts and feelings without trying to change them. Journal afterward. Writing down what comes up can help you process insights. Conclusion. Jung's wisdom teaches us that silence is not an absence, but a connection, a direct line to the soul. When you quiet the outer noise, you create the space to hear the inner truth that's always been there. The next time life feels overwhelming, try turning down the volume. Sit in silence. Breathe and listen. You might be surprised by what your soul has been trying to tell you all along. You cannot truly love another person until you've faced yourself. Without self-awareness, what we often call love is just a mix of attachment, dependency, or the need to fill a void within. Real love cannot grow in the shadows of unhealed wounds. It begins when you dare to look inward. Carl Jung believed that every relationship is a soul classroom. Each person we meet is both a mirror and a teacher reflecting back parts of ourselves we might ignore or hide. But these lessons will remain invisible if we skip the essential step of self-reflection. When you don't know yourself, your fears, your triggers, your patterns, you can't tell the difference between genuine connection and emotional need. You might cling to someone because you fear being alone or mistake constant attention for true intimacy. Jung's wisdom reminds us that love is not about losing yourself in another person. It's about two whole individuals meeting and growing together. To build relationships that last, start by facing your own soul. Ask, what do I really value? What wounds need healing? What parts of myself do I still need to accept? Only when you see and love yourself fully can you recognize and nurture real love in others. The soul is always speaking, but it rarely uses words. Instead, it leaves subtle clues for those who are willing to pay attention. These clues come in many forms: synchronicities that feel too perfect to be coincidence, dreams that reveal truths your waking mind ignores, gut feelings that push you toward or away from something, and moments of sudden peace when you least expect it. Carl Jung taught us that the unconscious is not something to fear or dismiss, but something to honor. He believed that our unconscious mind is the gateway to the self, the deeper, eternal part of us that knows our true purpose. When we treat these signs with reverence instead of suspicion, we open the door to transformation and alignment. The soul doesn't shout, it whispers, and if you don't slow down, you might miss its voice. How many times have you felt a quiet nudge to take a different path, or a dream that stayed with you long after you woke up? These are not random. They are messages urging you to pay attention and remember who you are. Jung's wisdom invites us to listen more deeply. When we follow the whispers of the soul, we stop living on autopilot and start walking the path meant for us. You weren't sent to this world to be perfect. You were sent here to remember to reconnect with the deeper truth of who you are. And if even one of these soul lessons stirred something inside you, take it as a sign. That feeling in your heart might be your invitation to step closer to your true self. Carl Jung's teachings aren't just abstract ideas or philosophical theories. They are maps, guides that lead you back to your center, to the place where your soul feels most alive. Before you leave this life, ask yourself, was my soul truly here? Did I live from my deepest truth, or did I just exist on the surface? Which of these 7 soul lessons resonated most with you? Comment below. Let's create a space where we can awaken together. And if you seek truth beyond surface living, if you feel that quiet call to live with purpose and awareness, then subscribe. Because your soul didn't come here to sleep. It came here to wake up.